Holding Her Own, The Exceptional Life of Jackie Ormes. Words by Traci and Todd. Pictures by Shannon Wright. This story begins, as many stories do, with a blank page, an empty space waiting to be filled. Zelda Jackson is an artist. Her mother shows her how to work a needle and thread. Her father owns a print shop and has a talent for painting. Her big sister likes to sing, but mostly she hides the soap so Zelda can't carve it into funny little beasts. And Zelda fills every space she can find. As she grows, Zelda becomes a poet and a storyteller, stitching together pictures and words. Yearbook pages filled with her funny drawings and snappy notes are a favorite at Monongahela High, and her happy rhymes about life at school tell the truth. Zelda dreams of writing for the Pittsburgh Courier, the powerful black newspaper published in the big city not too far away. When she writes to the editor asking for a job, her words are clever and quick, bobbing and weaving from one thought to the next. The editor asks for another letter, then another, and at last he asks, "How do you feel about boxing?" Fight night. Zelda sits in the second row, steps away from the other sports reporters, and close enough to hear the whomp of each punch, feel the splat of spit and sweat, and witness the final thud as the loser hits the ground. With an 8, 9, 10, the fight is over, the winner is declared, and Zelda loves every messy minute. Zelda races home and writes down every last detail, from the colors the fighters wore to the tiny typewriter held by one of the other sports reporters. Then, "Hello, public," there's her story on the women's activities page, not the sports page with the rest of the sports news, and her byline is simply her family nickname, Jackie. Still, she posts a new column every Saturday, making her a genuine, no-fooling reporter for the Pittsburgh Courier. But much as Jackie likes running around sticking her nose into every story she can find, she would rather be drawing. She pushes her way onto the Courier's funny pages with a comic strip about Torchy Brown, who dreams of fame and fortune in New York, far away from her Mississippi home. Jackie gets the idea from stories she reads in the Courier about black people fleeing southern towns for the hope and promise of northern cities, and she's inspired by the jump and jive of Harlem. There is music in these panels, and not just from the characters who sing on stage. It's in the rhythm of Jackie's line, and in the quiet, mighty ways her characters confront prejudice and fear. The men of the Courier's funny pages hover as Jackie draws. They eye Torchy's impeccable dress and impossible heels. Looks all right, but it'll never last. Well, what do they know? Torchy is a hit, but after just 1 year, Jackie puts down her pen to have a few adventures of her own. Extra, extra! Zelda Jackson marries Earl Ormes. Zelda Jackie Jackson of Monongahela, Pennsylvania, has married Earl Ormes of Salem, Ohio. The couple has settled in Bronzeville, the beating heart of Chicago's black community. Bronzeville is home to the Chicago Defender, where Mrs. Ormes has a weekly column. Mr. Ormes is manager of the DuSable Hotel, a favorite place for black celebs to lay their heads. Soon, he will manage the remodeled Sutherland. The Sutherland Hotel is not known for welcoming black customers, but with Earl as manager, the doors open wide. There's a barber shop and a beauty parlor, where guests can get ready for a fancy night in the jazz lounge. Louis Armstrong comes to play and stay. Duke Ellington leads the band, and Sarah Vaughan surely a bop so she can't surely a bop no more. The Sutherland is the hottest spot in town, but not everyone's life is so perfumed and fine. There is trouble in the streets of Chicago. It's the same old trouble black folks face everywhere, heightened by the Second World War. The promise of wartime jobs brought new waves of black people to Chicago from the South. Men who joined the Navy trained at a naval base just outside the city. And when the base allowed black and white sailors to train together for the first time, Jackie reported the story for the Chicago Defender. People who came to join the war effort, but not the war, had to push into already crowded blocks of Chicago's black neighborhoods, and they pushed into workplaces where they were not wanted. Now the war is over, the jobs are gone, and black folks are still fighting. Not just in Chicago, but all over the United States, fighting for the promise, and Black women are on the front lines. Some lift their voices on picket lines, some teach, some link arms and march. Jackie is a fighter, but she isn't much for marching, so she finds another way. Jackie sits before a blank page. How can I be honest and true with enough Jackie joy? She draws a few strokes of hair, a rounded cheek, a stout belly, and short chubby legs. The perfect dress, some shiny shoes, and here is the answer. Hello, I'm Patty Jo. Everything about Patty Jo, from what she says to what she wears, is meant to make people smile. Because when times are hard, a little joy can feel like hope. That hope spreads from coast to coast in all 14 editions of the Courier, touching more than 1 million people a week. Jackie knows that sometimes money can feel like hope too. She uses her fame to throw fantastic parties and fashion shows, raising money for all the causes that matter to her. Sometimes she even walks the runways herself, fighting for better with a whisper of velvet and a sway of silk. But not everyone at Jackie's parties is there to celebrate. Over in Washington, D.C., people in power are afraid of the very change that Jackie and others are fighting for. Afraid because they cannot imagine that this change is necessary and good. Because they cannot imagine an America big and broad enough to truly welcome everyone. So the people in power send spies to watch Jackie. They fill page after page with nervous notes about where she goes and who she sees. But they never look at her comics. If they had, they'd have found proof of Jackie's big, broad imagination, and they would have seen Patty Jo looking back, boldly poking fun. Oh, that Patty Jo? She really is a doll, isn't she? Shouldn't she be? Jackie makes a pattern, cuts it into cloth, and stitches together a funny little thing. Then she tries molding clay until those round cheeks and chubby legs are just right. At last, she teams with a toy company to make a Patty Jo doll. Jackie paints her lips, eyes, and signature brows by hand. Jackie has always loved dolls, and there is none like Patty Jo. After 12 years, Jackie writes and draws her last Patty Jo comic. For a little while, she draws Traci again too, but Traci's time has come and gone. The funny papers have changed, and Jackie is tired. She tries one last time to get something started at another paper, but they want her to be part of a comics making team. Don't they know Jackie is a one-woman show? She turns them down and walks away from comics for good. Jackie Ormes is an artist. Her mother showed her how to work a needle and thread. Her father owned a print shop and had a talent for painting. Now Jackie spends her days painting too. Mostly the faces of children. None of them is Patty Jo. At last, when Jackie's hands no longer listen and the ideas no longer flow, she puts down her brushes and leaves the next page blank. Feel free to pause here to read the historical notes by the author and illustrator. Watch until the end to review the reading comprehension questions.